in honour of the fact that tomorrow is Valentine's Day, I'm going to review the only romantic-ish book that I've read in the past 2 months, and it's My True Love Gave to Me, which is a collection of Christmas stories. That said, they are releasing a second edition of this book in honour of Valentine's Day, so I think it can count as Valentine's stories, even though most of them happen at Christmas. But let's just get on with it. So, most of these short stories were written by people that I'd heard of, if not read some stuff by. Some of them were people that I'd literally never heard of. And it tended to be the people that I hadn't heard of that I didn't really like the stories. The people I had heard of and was expecting to like the story, I did. So the Rainbow Rowell story got 5 out of 5, the Stephanie Perkins story got 5 out of 5, the Holly Black one got nearly 5, and I think it was the Laini Taylor one that got 5 as well. But let's go through them and talk about them. So, like I said, the Rainbow Rowell story got 5 out of 5. It was the first story in the book. It's called Midnights. It's about this girl, and every New Year's Eve on midnight, her relationship with this boy, and they're not in a relationship, they're just friends, but it's about the progression of their friendship. I really liked it. It was super cute, and the characters really reminded me of a friend of mine, because the guy in this story has an allergy to basically everything, and I have a friend in a similar situation, and it just kind of reminded me of him, and it was very cute. The second story was called The Lady in the Fox, and it was written by Kelly Link. I have never heard of her, and I've never read anything else of hers, but I thought this was a really impressive way to start my reading of her stuff. I gave that short story 4 stars, basically because I felt it wasn't quite explained enough to be a short story. I think it would have been a much better kind of short novel rather than a short story. I didn't think we got enough about why things were happening to be a short story, but it is really hard to write a short story, and I did really like the way that this was done. I thought it was very interesting, but I did really want to know more about her fashion design stuff, and I wanted to know who more of the characters were. So the third story was called Angels in the Snow by Matt de la Pena. I'm really hoping I'm pronouncing those names right. I gave this a solid 3. I think it would have been so much better had they been lesbians, basically. That's my criticism of that story. It felt so cliched and so over, like, the protagonist was a guy, and I didn't realise that for half of the story because there's no mention to him being a guy. I thought it was a girl, and then all of this over-analysing, does she like me, does she not like me, how can I even tell, stuff would have made sense, because, like, finding a girl that likes you back, like, that makes sense. Having a guy do it, and then it just felt irritating. I was just like, fuck off. Please, stop. Please, stop. But, like, there wasn't anything super wrong with it. It was just really not very interesting. So, the fourth story was Polaris Is Where You'll Find Me by Jenny Han, and I gave this 3.7. I really liked the premise of this story, and I thought it could have gone in such an interesting direction, and instead it felt a little bit flat. It wasn't great, it wasn't outstanding, but it also, like, it wasn't terrible, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever read, but it just fell a little bit. You could see where she was trying to get to, and she just kind of jumped and fell flat on her face. So, yeah, 3.7. Like I said, the Stephanie Perkins story got 5 stars. It was called It's a Yuletide Christmas Miracle, Charlie Brown, I think. It was so cute. It was so cute. So cute. Like, Stephanie Perkins, please write more. Please. Like, write a new series. Like, I don't want more continuation of Anna and the French Kiss. I want a new thing. But please write more content. Please. Please. So there's that. That's what I want after reading this book. Is I want Stephanie Perkins and Rainbow Rowell to write more. Oh my god, a Stephanie Perkins and Rainbow Rowell novel together. Oh, that'd be so good. If that happens, I should get idea credit because I totally came up with it right now. The next story was Your Temporary Santa by David Levithan. I can't ever pronounce it. I don't know how you pronounce that. I gave this 3 stars. So far, I haven't been blown away by anything he's worked on. Like, I liked Will Grayson. I didn't... Dash and Lily's Book of Dares annoyed me mildly, and I haven't really approached any of the other of his books, even his solo ones. But this just felt a little bit like, the sister in this story would never have been that honest. It's not a human characteristic to just spill your guts to your brother's boyfriend. It doesn't happen. And I really didn't like how obviously uncomfortable he felt. Like, he really wasn't okay. And there was never really any sort of resolution about that. Like, those are the kind of things that in a relationship you should talk about, and then you can fix them. And they just didn't do that, and that made me quite uncomfortable. And yeah, I don't know, I don't know. I'm a little bit annoyed as well that of 13 stories, the only like, I'm not surprised, but I'm still annoyed. Like, of 13 short stories, the only LGBT reference is white gay boys. Like, so many things you could have talked about that are representation, and you go for the most talked about of that minority. And it wasn't even a great story, like, so that irritated me somewhat. The next story was the Holly Black story called Krampuslof, I think. Krampuslof. I gave this 4.8, I think, because, okay, it was really weird. Very, very, very interesting, very original, very obviously Holly Black. But I felt like the ending fell a little bit flat, which is why I didn't get 5 stars, but I did really, really enjoy it. The next story was What the Hell Have You Done, Sophie Robb by Gail Forman. The Gail Forman books that I've read, I have not been blown away by. Like, everyone talks about how amazing she is, and I was just a bit like, it's not realistic, and really kind of patronising. Please stop. So, I wasn't expecting brilliant things from the Gail Forman story. Like, I got Sophie's problems, but it really irritated me that she didn't do more to fix them. She was one of those characters that was just like, oh my god, my life's so difficult, but I'm not going to do anything about it. That said, it did take me a very long time to decide how I felt about this story. And like, it was the one story that I was kind of like, sat there going, I don't know how to review this one, what do I say, for quite a while. So yeah, I still haven't decided about this one. The next story was called Beer Buckets and Baby Jesus by Myra McIntyre. It makes it sound like it's McIntyre, but I don't think it is. I gave this story 3 stars. This one was so cliched, I wanted to bash my head through a wall. Basically, good Christian white girl meets bad boy, but not bad enough to, like, actually be a bad person. And her father's a clergyman, and he has to end up doing some work for the church, so they have time to romanticise and be all, oh wow, isn't this a torrid love affair of this pure girl and this bad boy? Do I look impressed? Also, like, bits of this story just weren't believable. First off, they would need to learn lines. That would be a thing that needs to happen. Have you ever been in a show? I didn't think so, because obviously you've never thought about the fact that they need to learn lines. Secondly, the most interesting character in this story was the one that we hardly learned anything about, and that's Shelby. Like, everyone else I was just like, I don't care. Please stop. So, didn't like that story very much. I think actually that should be a 2-star. I found that really quite irritating. So, after that, we had Welcome to Christmas CA by Kirsten White, which I really liked. I felt the ending was a tad rushed, and it was a little bit twee, but I really enjoyed it. I gave that 4.7. I really liked Rick learning Spanish. I thought that was really cute. Like, obvious, but really cute. The penultimate story was called Star of Bethlehem. I gave this 3.5 stars, and it was written by Ali Carter, who wrote the Matched trilogy. I gave this, like I said, I gave this 3.5 stars. I really, really liked the premise of this story, but I felt like it wasn't at all developed enough. Like, it would have been much better to kind of have it written as a novel. I think that about a lot of short stories, not as many in this, but a lot of short stories generally, I think, work better if they've been novelised. Is that a word? It should be a word. And it just felt a little bit underdeveloped. Like, I didn't really know the characters, and also it set up to be this great epic, and then by the end of it, you're just a bit so wasn't that thrilled by it, which is a shame because it was really interesting. Like I said, the last story is another 5 stars. It was written by Laini Taylor, and it's called The Girl Who Woke the Dreamer. This was very, very different from all of the other stories. It didn't really feature anything that would kind of tell you as like Christmas or New Year's, and I got a very distinct The Colour Purple feel from this story. I don't really know why. It felt very similar, and I don't really know why. Not in a bad way. Like, I really liked The Colour Purple, and I think it was a really great story. I really liked it. So yeah, that also got 5 stars. On average, I think I have to give this like 4 stars, but that is an average. Like, the bad ones are bad, the good ones are good. So, I don't know. If you don't want to think too much about it, then it's 4 stars and you should read this book. If you only want to read good stories, then I'd say only read Holly Black, Stephanie Perkins, Rainbow Rowell, Laini Taylor and Kirsten White. Don't read the other ones, don't bother. But 5 out of 13 of 5 stars, of like nearly 5 stars. Yeah, so, yeah. Hopefully this will be something that you read or have read or like, and if so, you can talk to me in the comments about it. The other thing that I want to ask you to put in the comments is other booktubers. Like, I follow the kind of like famous booktubers, but I want to expand the number of people that I follow. So if you've got suggestions for people that I should be subscribed to, can you please like either leave their channel names or leave a link in the comments. Anyway, there's a book. I've read it. You should probably read it. I'm gonna go now. Bye!